What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Premier League Grand Finals. I am your host, Delthius. How's it going, guys? We have had a wonderful day of Tooth and Tail so far. Big shout out to all the players involved and all the various casters. We had Nicolaccio, Meek, and Ken. We had Kerpa and old P-Boop. I gotta get P-Boop to cast with me sometime, man. I never knew you wanted to. But alright. Alright, we got a big match in store for you guys. The Gentleman versus Araloo here. And let me go to there and we can look at some stats while I tell these players they are ready to start. So, very quickly, we've got Araloo hailing from Argentina, 25 years old, number 1 on the KML ranking, likes to play with the keyboard, and been playing since 2019. And meanwhile, we've got the Gentleman, one of the old school greats from the country of France. And he is utilizing the controller, number 2 on that ranking there. Is this off just very slightly? It looks fine. Let me see. Transform, fit the screen. Alright, maybe I'm just crazy. Sorry about that. And the predictions are in Gentleman's favors. And to be honest, I'm really excited for this match. We got to see a lot of cool decks and compositions coming out in the beginner and intermediate league. I was a little bit surprised by the lack of moles. I didn't get to catch every single game. I was a little bit busy like watching on my phone for the most part. But yeah, I was surprised to see a lot of Tier 3, a lot of lack of moles, and I think it's going to be the exact opposite in these games. Maybe we'll see the Gentleman rock the wolf from time to time, but other than that, I think we're going to have some very tight timing attacks, both players with a lot of really good scouting, looking to take advantage of any tiny windows that they can possibly conceive. And let me let these players know we are ready to roll in the grand finals. After this, we're going to have a interview with the winner, and then we're going to follow up into the relegation match between Necromanticer and Big Pimpintosh. And here we go. We are live. We are ready to roll. We are hopping right into this. Let's see what these players decide to do. Gentleman does his homework, so I'm curious to see what he brings out against Araloo. Meanwhile, Araloo's one of these guys who really has a specific deck in mind. He likes a lot of his Tier 2. And here we go, we're hopping right into this. Spawning on the right-hand side, we've got the Gentleman. And his opponent to the top left, Araloo. Let me just double-check my levels. Everything should be good. But as we're getting into this, looks like game sounds could go up just a smidgen there. Okay, okay. And then I need to get rid of the stats. All right, now we're cooking. So Gentleman actually rocking Toads, which is an interesting pick. I wonder if that is maybe in response to large groups of moles, are obviously going to do well against chameleons. But Araloo, I don't think, is mainly known for lizards, and Gentleman actually not bringing the moles this game is a little bit peculiar, so I'd like to see how that plays out as we get into this. Gentleman's got a little bit of an awkward spawn here. Araloo, a little bit in the same boat, to be honest. Like, both these players have to kind of get up here on this middle high ground to really get to the fruits of the rest of their bases down here in the bottom right and the bottom left. Now, either of those positions, I'm really curious if Araloo decides to take this sneaky 9 o'clock base over here on the side. It could be punished by lizards, but again, this is a very awkward map. This cabin right here in the middle of the two players makes me feel like maybe we won't have a lot of early game harassment. I mean, it is pretty easy once you get up to like 6 or 9 Tier 1 to take that cabin out without any losses, but it can still delay specific timings. And Gentleman here with the mines, a little bit kind of funny because Araloo in the last patch was really well known for his mine use, so I'm curious if he gets the scout on him. He does. He knows the mines are here, which makes me think maybe Gentleman will sell them off. Yeah, he sells off a couple of them, goes into an expand. And let's see how this plays out. Again, I'm really worried about whichever player doesn't get up here on the high ground. So from Gentleman's perspective, you know, if he can plant his flag up here where all these juicy gristmills are, he's going to be in really good shape. And then it's going to be very difficult for Araloo to even get that second base. And that's why we see Araloo maybe thinking about coming in and trying to punish this expand. Gentleman has not committed yet to any farms, so he's only playing 60 food behind. But even 60 food behind can be rough against some of these mole rushes. I wonder if Araloo's actually going to look for those mines that Gentleman planted and sold earlier. Yeah, nicely done by Araloo, knocking out that cabin, not losing anything. And so far, Gentleman is just on pure Lizard. And this is one of the things I always love about having Lizards in your deck, is that this is a total viable strategy. I mean, you can literally just drill down on Lizards and build up a large army of that. And Airlu doesn't have anything that's really that great against Lizards, to be honest. I mean, he's got the cams, you know, which can do well, but I feel like you need, like, 4 of them. Airlu going to grab this campfire, which is actually going to be a better food investment than the mill, and Gentleman realizes this and sees he needs to throw down at least 1 farm. But yeah, I doubt we're going to see a macro game here. The map is just a little bit too awkward. We can see Airlu already gearing up for a big attack here. Gentleman's grabbing those toads. Yeah, I think he just wants to use these toads to just delete those moles, get them out of the way, and let the lizards get up on the squirrels. The moles don't do a lot of damage in the direct engagement. You really want them to hit structures, but they can still tank a good amount, right? You know, just the classic tank and glass cannon composition from Airlu. He's got the moles on the front, the squirrels in the back, and Gent's wanting to hit those moles with his toads as soon as Airlu goes in to commit on this mill. But Gentleman can't sit around forever. Airlu's doing a good job dancing back and forth, getting us a pop shot. So here's a big engagement. The toads weaken up those moles fairly nicely, and maybe the Gentleman's just going to run right over this. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like the Gentleman has figured out how to deal with some of these really annoying early mole attacks here. These toads doing a great job in that situation, and now this might just be too much momentum. I don't see Airlu coming back from this. He's already lost way too many warrens. His capability to reproduce a follow-up army is very hamstrung at this point. He's just going to have to tap out. A nice quick victory for the Gentleman in game number 1. Hope everybody's doing well in the chat. And this has been such a fun event, man. And I really love seeing all the community participation, you know, casting, streaming, organizing. It's always really great. At the bottom left, we've got Airlu. And his opponent to the right, the Gentleman. And yeah, Airlu realized, okay, man, Gent's bringing those toads to deal with my moles. So this time around, he actually techs out of them. Meanwhile, Gentleman's got the moles. Gentleman's got a very early game style here. It's kind of neat. You know, Gentleman is definitely a jack-of-all-trades kind of player. You know, he can rock any of the various styles. And, again, he's a very studious player. He's definitely done his homework. He knows Airlu likes this 4 tier 2 style. So maybe he's trying to get underneath it, right? Maybe he's trying to come in with all this tier 1 and hit before Airlu's really got a chance to build up those core tier 2 he's looking for. You know, we can see that classic this guy skunk push out of Gentleman with this composition, while adding in some toads to be a little spicy if necessary. A little bit of mole shenaniganery here in the early game. Airlu should handle this just fine. Sell that off at the last minute. And it's always hard to tell exactly who comes out and lead in those situations. You know, yeah, Airlu's farm was delayed, but so was Gentleman's in order to do that mole rush. Oh, I left my... Darn it. I gotta get better at that. Alright. This... Bam. Get that clutter off the screen. There we go. So this map seems a bit better. You know, both players have access to 4 bases. Both players have some reasonable seconds here. Gentleman's going to go ahead and take this forward expansion. I always love the decision-making in these situations. Gentleman knows, all right, if I can do the hard work to establish this second base here, then these 3rd and 4th bases are basically in the pocket at that point. And meanwhile, Airlu is going to take a similar situation. He's really just making it more difficult for Gentleman to come up onto this high ground to push. And he's got a 3rd and a 4th back there as well. And again, no tier 3. We did see Gentleman bring a tier 3 last time. Of course, we never got to that phase of the game. I think it was Owls. I apologize. My memory is always horrible for that sort of thing. But yeah, I really don't suspect we'll see much tier 3 at all this series. These players are just really, really good at timing windows. I think that's what differentiates the very tip-top players in Tooth and Tail. You know, they've just got so much practice. They know these things exactly. They're really good at counting your food. And Gent's gonna feign an attack here. So it can be really hard to actually get that tier 3 up and running unless we get to an ultra late game, which again, it is difficult because both these players are constantly on top of scouting. They're looking for any little opportunity to come in. Oh, you built a couple too many farms. Oh, you got the 2 tier 2 when you should have just got 1. I'm going to come in and slap you down. And lots of greed coming out from Gentleman's side, as I've been talking. Now, keep in mind, Airlu doesn't have moles this game. It's also this natural base, even though I kind of labeled it as the riskier expansion earlier on, it's very safe. Like, it's hard to get in here and attack. You know, Airlu's got to come right into this choke point in between the main and the natural, where all the Warrens are just going to naturally rally to. And I think that's smart from Airlu. He realizes, you know what, I'm kind of flipping a coin with this attack. Let me just go home, play the macro game. Let me go ahead and farm up. He sees that Gentleman has only taken 7 farms so far, so he's going to be happy he committed to that 8th. Oh, and Gentleman's looking for some blood. Airlu's only got 3 toads. I think he really would prefer to have like 6 here. But Gentleman's going to see what he can get done. Airlu realizes that the attack is imminent. Rushes home. Going to try to defend as well as possible. But here we go. The moles are actually going to get up on top of the Warrens. A couple of the toads get some decent connections. And so far, Airlu's doing well. But again, man, still 2 Warrens fall. Airlu will clean this up and he will get the better trade. But his reinforcements are going to be a little bit hamstrung. However, keep in mind, Gentleman did have to sell that forward mole Warren, so it's a little bit of a tempo hit. And both players realize, okay, after that little knife fight there, everything's going to even out. And we're going to move on in this game. I want to see the surprise badger from Jen. Oh my god, what if that's the strategy, man? People have been paying a lot of attention. You know, Gentleman kind of dunks on the badger, right? Like, what if he's just talking down the badger a lot to whip it out in, like, game number 5? You know what I mean? And just, like, blindside Airlu? That would be hilarious. Gentleman's already working on that 3rd base. Airlu's got his up and running as well. Just now going to throw down some farms. And we're going to move on to this mid-game in pretty decent positions here. Both players kind of evening out. I mean, the scores say that Gentleman's a bit ahead, but nothing that Airlu can't handle. Some nice deep scouts there from the Gent. Looking for anything crazy like a Wolf Warren. Trying to count how much Tier 2 is coming out. And we're going to get a little bit of a lull here. That 5-minute mark came and went, so those first base economies are going to get going down the hole here. And I think Airlu's going to move out here. He's got a lot of toads to burst down these moles right at the front of the engagement. Let's see how it works out. A lot of units just getting deleted. Gentleman was not quite in position. He was out and about scouting on the map, and Airlu so far is running over with this engagement. He's got to go home, though, keep these tier 2 units alive. Nice defense from Gent there as well. Pretty solid trades. Maybe he lost like 1 Warren. I could be wrong. But Airlu's got to be happy with that, especially because he got most of his tier 2 out of there alive. And Gent actually sells down on a lot of the Warren, a lot of the moles. He doesn't want to let Airlu get those great toad engagements again. But Airlu's looking like he's in a good spot this game. He's building up that tier 2. He's getting that whole cavalcade of variety here in that tier 2 slot. He hasn't gone into snakes yet, but he doesn't really need to. The snakes are more of a tech pick, just in case, you know, there's something like a boar or badger, even a fox. And I would say advantage to Airlu at this point, but Gentleman is not down and out. He's got 4 skunks put together. And I'm curious if we're going to see both players start getting into their late game plan of just lots and lots of falcons. And you got to be really careful here on how you balance your tier 2 production versus economy. And here we go. We see Airlu getting into that late game falcon strategy already. Going to try to accelerate up to 8 of those, and that could be a big problem for Gentleman. You know, the only thing Gentleman can really do about enemy falcons is build his own. And so far, he's fallen behind. I mean, he's coming here. Well, actually, he doesn't know how much tier 2 is there. Airlu's actually traded it out, a lot of the tier 1 for the tier 2. as the game progresses, and Gentleman really needs to start doing that himself. Yeah, it looks like he is now. And Gentleman's starting to take a little bit of an eco lead, just getting that third base economy up a little bit faster. And we're evening out again this game as we're approaching the late game. It might come down to composition, but I think Airlu's going to have the window here, where he's just got a lot more Falcons than Gentleman does. It's not going to be a long window, you know. In about a minute, Gentleman's Falcon count will catch up. Both players looking for that fourth base now. Yeah, this is the exact time Airlu needs to move in. More and more Falcons are being produced by Gentleman, but they're just not here yet. They're not ready. And this is Airlu's opportunity to come in and try to deal the killing blow, get some serious damage on this third base, as well as a favorable army trade. And that is just going to be it, I think. I don't think Gentleman can recover from this. He's got way too many Tier 2 Warrens. Everything is supply blocked here. And if Airlu manages to take down this third, that is just going to be the nail in the coffin. And I wonder if Gent's just going to tap out immediately. Maybe hold on for one more desperation attack, but... really great job from Airlu there, not messing around. Taking that advantage he'd gotten earlier on. Smart decision-making on timing to swap over to the Falcons and utilizing that to push in. And now Gentleman's in horrible shape. He's going to try one more time. Maybe see if he can return the favor. Knock out Airlu's third base. Put him back on even footing. Yeah, I think that's about all Gentleman can do. And he's moving his units down here. One last hoorah. But even best case scenario, if Gentleman does get this third, you know, Airlu's been farming off it for so much longer. And here we go. Oh, Gentleman does a good job of avoiding the army from Airlu here. Just going to try to take this into a base race, but he does not know about this fourth up here. That could be absolutely devastating. Airlu is not going to risk it. He's coming home. Gentleman does knock out that third base, but the question is, can he actually fight head-on with Airlu's army? I don't think so. But great attempt by the Gentleman here. You know, he definitely realized he lost earlier on when that third base went down, but this is a big tournament match. You might as well fight it out to the very end. Oh, man. Gent with the Gent plays. Let's see it. He does have moles. I want to believe. 500 bucks. It's a lot of moles. Oh, my God, Gentleman. He's trying to do the runaround on Airlu here, man. He's trying to bob and weave, but he doesn't know about that fourth, which is the problem. His multi-prong mole attack might work, but it's not going to matter even if it does. Airlu doing a great job splitting, by the way. Going to knock out that base, and fun attempt here from Gentleman. You know, you might as well give it your all here. But Airlu is going to tie things up 1-1. But the advantage that Gentleman has, I think, is, you know, you know Airlu is going to kind of be running the same thing every game, right? Like, he's just one of those players. So maybe the Gentleman can kind of download that. He knows Airlu likes that 4 tier 2 squirrel mole style. And he's trying to think. Maybe he wants the boar. Which, actually, if the Gentleman does commit to that boar, would be very beneficial, because Airlu is thinking, alright, Gentleman's not pulling out the tier 3. I don't need the snakes. So if Gentleman actually does decide to put a tier 3 in this composition, maybe a badger. Oh, Gentleman! Oh my God! Oh, dude, I called it. Come on, you guys gotta give me that one. You guys gotta give me that one. Gentleman down here on the left with the Badger, the unit he's been dunking on all season. Up top, we've got Airlu. Oh my God, Gent. Dude, I'm so hyped. Gentleman's already won this match in my mind. Even if he loses, he still wins. I'll still put the point up on the board for him. But you know what? Like, joking aside, like, this could work, right? I mean, Araloo doesn't have anything to deal with this Badger. He's got Falcons, which can get the job done. If you scout the Badger early, you get up like 4 to 6 Falcons. It definitely does work. It's a lot easier with snakes, though. Will we even see the Badger? I mean, he's got the Squizzard in the early game. But Araloo's got the Toads as well. No moles, no cams for those Toads to blast into here. And a little bit of mole shenanigans here up on the top. Gentleman's going to try to defend this with barbed wire, actually. And utilize how quickly those barbed wire builds. And the reason he went for that instead was to make sure he did not have to sell his pig. So, actually really nice response there from Gent. And Gent's going to open things up with lizards. I love the lizard opening. I can get a little too zealous with it on the ladder sometimes, but you know, you build like 6 or 9 lizards, and then you can go, you know, poke and prod on the map, try to look for openings, you know, maybe like run up over here and gank that warren or something. But I think where you get in trouble is if you build too many lizards trying to do that, right? Because if you end up, you know, taking a really bad trade with the lizards and all of a sudden they can counterattack you. But I think if Gentleman, like, put down some squirrel warrens, as weird as that sounds, that would give him a lot more wiggle room to be mobile with the lizards on the map. Expansions down from both players. Gentleman actually taking his expansion in a little bit of a counterintuitive location. You know, he's got this wonderful natural that's just right here, and he is not taking it. Instead, he's going down south, and maybe he's setting up for a base trade. Couple ward wire. Great job on the scouting from Araloo. Sees the space. I was wondering if maybe he was going to throw down like a mole warren to just pick that off or something. But so far, just lizards. So as hyped as I was and still am to see the Badger come out from Gent, it's not looking like it so far this game. And I'm really worried about the pure lizards. I think Gentleman knows about the toads. I want to get a confirmation on that. But I imagine he's been scouting well enough to know about this. Yeah, and this is actually looking a little bit rough here. You know, only lizards to deal with these toads. You can micro around those toads and make sure they get engagements where they're only hitting like a lizard or two and not your whole clump. But keep in mind, even when you do that sort of thing, you're taking free shots from the squirrels as well. And I don't think Gentleman's even going to fight this. He's getting ready for a base race, which is very smart. And I love this mill from Araloo as well, up here on the natural. Just understanding, alright, Gent's going to base race me. So I've got this mill here, and I can leave my units here, and he can actually just really, if he builds a couple more moles, he could just use the moles to take out the main base. And here comes Gentleman going for the backstab here. Should have enough lizards to knock this mill down before Araloo's units get back. And Araloo actually did not do any counter damage. He tried to come home to defend this, and it was woefully unsuccessful here. And every time Araloo moves up, Gentleman's going to come right back in through the back and get as much damage as possible. And maybe eventually he's just going to outnumber Araloo. Yeah, his lizard count is getting pretty nice. And the toads, oh my god, the toad connections were huge. But Gentleman's got a really big economy here, and he's only on tier 1. So he's going to recreate those lizards very, very fast. He actually packs up shop and is just going to sacrifice that base and start building over in this 3 o'clock position. This is becoming a really interesting game here. And keep in mind, too, the players don't really get the opportunity in these series to review the replays, right? So even though Gentleman took the Badger to this game, he's still got the Badger in his pocket. Like, all the Gentleman's shown is lizards and barbed wire. But Araloo's got enough units to be dangerous here. Needs to be careful. Actually, bit of misplay there, losing the toad onto the mill. And I think slowly but surely, Gentleman is just getting the critical mass of lizards that he needs to to where Airlu is just helpless. And I love this too from the gentleman here, taking his time, not overcommitting to this aggression, you know, continuing to farm up. Airlu actually has not found that base. He knows it's got to be somewhere, though. Moves his moles down south to take care of that campfire, but in the meantime, loses another gristmill. That wasn't the critical mill for Airlu, though. His main mining mill is over here at the 10 o'clock position. And alright, gent. Slowly but surely, whittling his opponent down. A death by 1,000 paper cuts here. These moles are not going to be enough to deal with these lizards, and Gent can pounce on these. They're so slow. But Airlu's trying to bait him into his toads. It's only 3 toads, though. I would love to see Gentlemen just build, like, a couple squirrels, you know? They don't have the mobility, but they can really help deal with these toads here. And actually just going to sacrifice a lot of food and barbed wire to slow Airlu down slightly. And again, Airlu, with a bit of missteps there, detonating those toads onto the Warrens. Realizes he's taken just too much damage, taps out. And we will move on to the next match here. Like I said, Airlu does not know that the Badger was a choice from Gent in that game. But Gent is not going to take it again. As we hop into, what is this, game number 4? The bottom right, we've got Airlu. And his opponent to left, the Gentleman. No lizards this time. Some pretty similar comps here. Very tier 1, tier 2 heavy. Gentleman is opting for the pigeons, though. Could come in handy against the snakes, but again, we might not actually end up seeing the snakes from Airlu, since they're probably there just as like a Swiss Army knife unit. You know, just to make sure you don't get blindsided by tier 3 and that sort of thing. Pretty even map, I would say. You know, Gentleman can start expanding up north, Airlu down south. I think maybe I like it a little better for Gent, but not by enough to be of any significance. Also, these cabins in the middle might slow things down. But again, I don't think that's going to stop somebody if they really want to attack, if they really want to be aggressive. You know, they can take a couple hits from the cabins, clear them out, and be on their way. So I'm excited, man. Let's see how these players want to evolve in this game. A larger map, you know. But it's not so large or so wonky that it forces a macro game. I honestly think this map has a lot of potential, right? These players can do whatever they want. They want to be aggressive. You know, they can get over there, especially with this road here, fairly quickly. And if they want to macro up, they both got nice high ground, juicy expansions here. Gent with a decent amount of money in the pocket. Actually going for the expansion off of a single Warren, which is a little bit greedy. Gonna go straight up to 3 farms there. Airlu did scout 2 of them at the very least. And maybe Airlu's actually thinking about a quick attack here. Wonder if he's just got that second base as a feign. No, he does throw down a single farm. But I love the early skunk against a lot of economy, because 9 times out of 10, what ends up happening is you build a whole lot of squirrels to help defend while you're being greedy with farms, right? So the skunks kind of come in there and deal with both of those well. Then gas down the pigs and slowly DPS them in between direct engagements. And of course, skunks are phenomenal against mass squirrel. And that's all we see from Gentleman so far. He did get in and he did see the tier 2. But I don't think he actually got a scout on which tier 2 it is. It's pretty safe to assume that it's skunks. You know, that's mostly the first tier 2 that we see built, sometimes maybe cams. Now that Airlu's got his skunks cooking, he's going to go ahead and farm up pretty liberally on that second base. So this is turning into a really interesting match. You know, I figured maybe Airlu wanted to attack with that quick tier 2, but he honestly, like, he sits there and farms up, and I like this a lot because Airlu's still getting the moles. He can still be aggressive, but he doesn't have to hard commit, right? He can pull back if it's not going his way, and even if he doesn't get that critical damage in on the second base, it's alright. He's got his own economy up and running, and Gent is already going into that third base. Snakes coming out from the Gentleman to try to deal with the enemy skunks. It's definitely a great remedy, but it's easier said than done. You know, you want to be microing with your skunks to get proper gas clouds on the enemy squirrels, and you want to be microing with your snakes at the same time to get those tags on the skunks. I definitely would prioritize the snake micro because the skunks are, in general, they'll do a good job even without control of getting that gas down. But Gent's actually not committing to a whole lot of squirrels here. He's only got 6, and instead he's building into moles and getting into double skunks. And 4 skunks coming up for both sides. Very, very powerful composition. Like, even into the late game. And speaking of late game, that looks like where we're going to go on this map. Both players getting those third bases up and running, and it's going to be a tier 2 war. And these comps are very, very similar. The only difference is the chameleons for Airlu and pigeons for Gent. But again, as we saw in, I believe it was game number 2, you know, Airlu's getting that Falcon transition jump, which I think is really what won him the game. You know, both players realized, all right, it's the late game, I got to get into Falcons, but Airlu was just faster, and he was able to hit with 6 or 7 Falcons when Gentleman only had like 3. But this time around, Gentleman's not slacking in that regard. He's got his own Falcon production up and running fairly nicely. That window where Airlu will have the superior Falcon count is going to be smaller, but it is still a window, and Airlu is really, really good about smelling the fresh air coming in from open windows, but his commander actually went down while he was scouting, and he rallied his army over to the map. Absolutely devastating loss here for Airlu. Ends up not being as bad as I just said. You know, he lost like a skunk, maybe a falcon or something, but still, man, every piece of food really, really matters in these top-level games. That was definitely a blunder from Airlu, but keep in mind Airlu still has a superior falcon count here, which I think is what the most important thing is. Gentleman does have a lot of Falcons on paper, but it only actually has 3 up here on the front lines, and they're all starting to go down, and Airlu takes this fight with flying colors. Gentleman gonna have to go back home with his tail between his legs. Looks like, according to the graph, Gent got some decent blows in as well, but it looked very Airlu favored to me. All right, this is becoming a good match here. We've had a couple bloody noses on both sides here. I think Airlu might have the slight lead. According to the army value, it's actually Gent. But I love this phase of the game. I love when players start thinking about selling off superfluous tier 1, getting into more and more tier 2. This, of course, would be where the tier 3 would be coming out if we had any. Oh man, beautiful engagement there from Airlu, just sniping a skunk right at the start. But Gentleman's still got a lot of forces here. So much skunk gas on the ground, but keep in mind there's not a whole lot of tier 1 there regardless. And Gentleman's going to clean this up. These pigeons coming into play quite nicely, actually, helping to keep a couple of those Falcons alive against the snake poison. Oh man. All right, this is really fun. This is where both players have to decide what to keep and what to sell. You know, you've been building up to these big armies all game long, and you simply don't have the income or the raw numbers of money, I should say. I guess the income is still kind of there to re-support that entire army, right? So you gotta sell off a couple warrens, but the incomes are still really strong right now. I mean, we've still got 3 mining bases here from both sides. Airlu's actually just working on that 3rd right now. And, you know, I typically don't comment on this kind of thing because it's not relevant. But Gentleman actually got the 5th mill in the split. You know, I was saying it's a very even map. And I still stand by that because 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter. But this is that 1 time out of 10, right? Where we actually have this big, long macro game where we go beyond 3 or 4 grist mills. And Heirloom's got to start considering that, you know. Gentleman can hang out. Gentleman can just wait. Take that 5th base, eventually just out-muscle Heirloom in the ultra-late game. Where Heirloom's got to figure out some takedown here. He's got to figure out the killing blow to get in there before he just simply doesn't have access to as much money as the Gentleman does. We're not quite there yet. You know, it's still a couple minutes down the road. But it is a glooming doom here for Heirloom. And he's going to come back in again. Lots of moles here from Gentleman to tank some damage on the front lines. A lot of skunk gas going down on both sides, but I think the real story here is the Falcons and the Snakes. And again, with all these pigeons supporting in the back, you know, Gentleman's going to clean this up. He's going to try to chase down some of these units. But another pound-for-pound trade for the most part. Gentleman taking a little bit of the better end of that bargain there. But again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, man, but this 5th base that looks like Gentleman's coming to get right now, I mean, that's going to be the nail in the coffin. Heirloom's got to figure out something clever here. You know, he's got to bob and weave. Maybe feign an attack over here while he's sending in moles to knock out this 5th base at the same time. You know, he's got to do something like that. He cannot just sit around and keep throwing armies at the Gentleman, which so far has worked out okay. And Gentleman's feeling confident, actually. He's not even going to rely on that 5th base. He's going to move in. He's got so much tier 1 now, actually. I wonder if he's thinking maybe Heirloom would tech out of the skunks, but Heirloom's actually still got 4 skunks on the board. Going to deal nicely with that tier 1, but one of the big advantages of tier 1 is just how fast it rebuilds, right? A lot of times, especially these big tier 2 heavy armies, after the big trade, you know, you're just sitting there in the red, and you can't actually produce anything. Tier 1 alleviates that because they will just keep churning out and let you get that follow-up army up and running so quickly to do maybe a devastating counter push. Alright, and I like this from Gent, man. He's just got to hang out. He's going to come in. He's going to defend if Heirloom is getting a bit too bold here. And here we go. We're going to have another big engagement. That's so many moles in the ground. So many pigeons in the air to support this composition. But Heirloom is not afraid. He moves in. Good target firing from Heirloom, trying to knock out all the big juicy tier 2 units. And Gentleman's actually just left over with a lot of moles. But he's got enough squirrel support here with the pigeons to actually clean up these Falcons. And this is rough for Heirloom now, man. I don't see him coming back in this one, unfortunately. Gentleman's got that extra base up and running. Gentleman's took an advantageous trade there. Heirloom's really not got a whole lot left. He's going to come stand his ground, but I think we're going to see a tap from Heirloom here shortly. We'll be heading on into game number 5. Just some wonderful brutality. Almost said butality. Butality's not a word, is it? I was surprised to find out shenaniganery was a word. Because I kept saying that, and it was actually somehow correct. Alright, Heirloom's gonna fight to the last breath, man. Last man standing here. But I don't think he's gonna have enough. Gentleman's just gonna pull back, just gonna re-rally, but yeah, Heirloom knows the writing is on the wall. Taps out. We're gonna hop into match number 5. Gentlemen starting to get a little bit of a lead this series. I'd love to see Heirloom come in here for a victory and get close to tying this thing up. I wanna go all the way to game number 9, man. Gentlemen requesting a little bit of a break. So I will take one myself, guys. So yeah, don't go anywhere. One of the players requested a little bit of break. I think that's reasonable. I'll put the channel on a brief break as well and get up and stretch my legs. So don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back very shortly. Alright, guys, I am back. Okay, gentlemen is ready too. So we are ready to roll. And again, man, I'm super excited for this. I love to see the scene nice and healthy. I mean, I don't think I'm exaggerating very much to say in TNT Championship 2020.2, we probably had about 100 people involved, right? When you count up all the organizers, the guys behind the scenes, all the players in the various divisions. I mean, just wonderful turnout. Everybody's streams have been getting so much great viewership. And by the way, like, we've had so many phenomenal casters really throw their names in the hat as of late, which I absolutely love to see. And over on the right, we've got the gentleman, and his opponent to the left, Araloo. It's very, very important, man, to get, like, the more Twitch coverage we have, the better it is for the game. I can't stress that enough, you know. And seeing all these different guys coming in, starting streams, starting casting, it's really, really cool. Because, you know, even as much as I love casting, you know, I can't, I don't have time to cover everything, and, you know, and it's super awesome to see other people are interested in doing it as well. And we got a nice big macro map this game by the looks of it. A little bit of mole shenanigans here. And what else is going on? So, as TNT Championship is wrapping up this season, I'm sure there will be another one. Gentleman's got his Season 7 of his 21 series. Ooh, very well calculated there by the gentleman, by the way, to keep that pig alive, knowing it would farm just in the right amount of time. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what my point was. I'm just very happy. The scene is doing so well, man. So many people are interested in organizing and hosting and casting and playing. You know, we've got the FXB guys coming over from StarCraft 2. That was really cool to see all their support for Trumpet. And a lot of us are StarCraft guys, you know. I think Araloo was a Grandmaster. QQ was either a Master or Grandmaster. I was a Master in StarCraft 2. So lots of overlap, which is really awesome. Old Artosis is actually how I got into this game. Fun fact. I was watching Brood War ASL, and he plugged Tooth and Tail like a few days after it launched. And I was like, all right, I'll check that out. Not a whole lot going on just yet. Araloo moving out with some aggression here. Spots a couple moles on the map. Yeah, we still had like 50% of the beginner games on Casted, says Sassy Marquez. Yeah, so there's always room for more, man. Definitely always room for more. Gentleman coming in here with a lizard attack. He's actually going to get away with this. Araloo is not home. He doesn't have his units in position. 2 farbs. Gentleman's going for blood. He's taking 3 farms. So much bacon there in the frying pan of the gentleman. And that was really bad for Araloo, but he's got a couple more farms on the way. I am curious to see if those were the 5-minute mark gonna fallow anyways farms. It looked like maybe 2 of them are. Because that is something we often tend to overlook, right? You know, you lose a pig, but it was gonna fallow out like a minute later. It's not as big of a deal as if it was a fresh pig, you know? Yeah, guys, Magnificent 21 is coming up very soon. We need to sign up for that as well. I think we've already got a lot of sign-ups, so I'll hype that up maybe a little more later. But figured while this game is getting cooking, might as well throw it a mention. The Gentleman's series of tournaments are always really fun. They always kind of remind me of like board games, you know, where instead of like rolling dice or we're playing matches of tooth and tail to determine outcomes. But in this match here, we just have both players opening up like greedy safe, as weird as that sounds. Like lots of second base farms, but also a lot of tier 1 to back it up. You know, this is something that can get punished by like board pushes or, oh man, gentlemen, fool you once, shame on me, fool me twice, can't be fooled again. Oof. And I love this like mine trap here. That's so many mines, 120 bucks worth of mines there, but maybe the intent is like if he tilts Araloo, he can bait him into going into those mines. And Gentleman's got that third base up and running too. Oh man, and Araloo's not even going to be able to get the deep scout to find that third base. As soon as he leaves to go out and about and scout, the Gentleman is potentially harassing with these lizards. You know, this is where guys like Pyle back in the day really shined. You know, when you're up in their face all the time with lizards, they just don't have the opportunity to scout. And scouting is like 90% of this game. You need to know exactly what your opponent is doing so you can kind of modify your build into whatever beats that, you know. Gentleman getting double owls up and running, and again with all this lizard harassment, Araloo just hasn't been able to get back there and scout it. He hasn't scouted the third base. Maybe this time around Araloo will see it. I love this unit positioning from Araloo though. Moving his units up. Okay, now I can go scout, and even if he tries to attack with the lizards, I've got some units in some decent spots. But these skunks, I mean, they're not going to get the job done. The lizards will just run over those skunks. But Araloo is so behind in so many ways this game. He's a full third base behind. Double owl is on the way as well. Gentleman sneaking in again with these lizards. This time around, Araloo might actually punish this, and Gentleman realizes it, and is just going to dive in with these lizards, realizing they are a lost cause, going to just try to get as much damage done with them as possible. That's some decent damage at that, you know. Picks off a Warren, gets some good scouting, a pig or two. So many toads, Gentlemen! Oh my god, the gentle strats are real, dude. Double owl, 12 toads. Let's go. Araloo's trying to push in, but man, I think the Gentle Con has just gone on for too long. That third base, way ahead in economy. These are always some of the worst games to lose to. You just feel so helpless. Like, when you're like, okay, you're doing like the math in your head, you know? And you're like, alright, he should have about this. It's like, how does he have so much? He hasn't been trading that well, has he? It's like, no, because he's got this third base you're never able to see. And this is just lights out for Araloo, man. I hate to be that guy. Try to keep it hyped up as much as I can, but I also can't lose my nerd cred, you know? I don't want the guys in the chat, Delthius doesn't even know it's over. I'm just messing around, man. I'm a little caffeinated up. A little hyped up guy in the chat. Alright, Gentleman's just gonna smash through. Gets so much damage done. He doesn't need to be cost efficient. He doesn't care. He is just so gosh darn ahead. Cool to see the owls in the game. Araloo realizes it. And might be a bit tilted here, which is not the time to be tilted, man. Gentleman with the 4-1 lead. This is where we need Araloo to bring it back, and Araloo is definitely strong enough of a player to do so, man. He's got the moves. His moves are not weak. Araloo bringing out the barbed wire this time, but again, Gentleman without any lizards. Over here on the right, up to match point here, we've got Gentleman. His opponent 2 left, desperately needing to win a few maps here, get back in the series. We've got Araloo. Pretty even map overall. It's kind of interesting. Gentleman, by the way, with a little bit of mole harassment here. And go back to my premium map analysis in a second. Ooh, the barbed wire play is very nice. So, I like this map a lot better for Gentleman in the early game, right? Because he's got this high ground. It's a little bit awkward for Araloo to attack into this. But, at the same time, if this game does start dragging on and getting longer, it is much better for Araloo. Because he's going to have access to 5 mils versus 3. And Araloo rocking that barbed wire this game. In order to kind of counter the lizards from Gentleman, which Gentleman switched out of. And I'm hyped for this map, man. I really hope we can see Araloo bring this back. I know he's capable of it. You know, this is where tournament player versus ladder player really starts to come out, man. Because it is so easy to get tilted when you're on some big matches like this. You know, lots of stakes on the line, all the nerd cred, everybody watching on the stream. You know, it's easy to get tilted. It's easy to get nerves. But this is where you gotta have that steel trap of a mind. You know, you gotta just, all right, man. It's just another match. Araloo's beaten Gentleman plenty of times in practice and on ladders and in other series. He can do it again. Gentleman starting off greedy. Araloo gonna match and probably go +1. And so far, Araloo's playing good, you know. I think that last map was a little unfortunate for him. He kind of got caught between a rock and a hard place. He could not scout or else take lizard damage. And either one of those two are going to win the game for Gentleman, right? A little bit of mixed signals here from Araloo though. Throwing down barbed wire and moles. Yeah, sell off that wire. Oh, Gentleman just going straight up to 8 farms. Let's see if Araloo can get that read. Yes, he does. He knows what the plan is. Now Araloo has to decide if he wants to match or if he wants to move out. Looks like he wants to move out. He's going to throw down a mole warren here on the front. And he needs to get some value here. If he doesn't, the Gentleman is in a great position. But not so bad. I mean, Araloo does have... He's only missing 2 farms, right? And yeah, Gentleman's going to hold, man. Defender's advantage is real. Gentleman had his own moles. Oh, but as I say that, more and more reinforcements are coming out from Araloo. He's going to keep going, but I think that follow-up was incorrect. I think he needed to move out when he first gut intuitively was going to. And Gentleman's coming in for the follow-up. Araloo's down a little bit of tempo because he had to sell that frontline mole warren. Gentleman is going to get in here. Araloo does not have a lot of units right here, right now to fight. This could be the Gentleman's opportunity to just straight up win the game. No, Gentleman's going to pull back for now. Gentleman realizes he's got a bit of a lead here. You know, he doesn't want to throw it. He doesn't just want to scoop up that lead and get rid of it. Gentleman coming in for the big attack with the Mole Warren. Going to knock out that mill, but that was only a tank mill anyways. However, he's got the momentum. He's going to push forward. A lot of these moles going down, though. And really how Gentleman wins this war is getting those moles up onto the front to start taking out those Warrens. He does get one Warren, but he actually ends up trading pretty poorly there at the end, and that's exactly what Araloo needed to get back into this. And throughout all the chaos, Araloo has snuck out a couple skunks here that could absolutely make the difference. Alright, one skunk is on the front line. Maybe Araloo's waiting for that second skunk. Gonna do a fantastic job against these moles and squirrels of Gent. And Gent's not gonna wait around. He's moving forward. All these moles in the skunk gas, though. I think Araloo is gonna take this engagement. He needs to get the skunk gas a little bit further forward onto those squirrels. Gentleman's got his own tank mill here. But Araloo busts through. This is what we wanted to see, chat. We want to see an Araloo win here so we get more games this series. And so far, it's looking good. Araloo's got to get a little bit further to that soft underbelly of Gentleman's base. He's got to start dealing some damage to the Warrens. That's how he's actually going to win this game. Both skunks are still alive. No pigeons here to heal on the front lines, but good micro from Araloo. Keeping those skunks up and running, and this is just too much damage. Gentleman's going to tap. And we've got more grand finals for you here now. Hype, hype. Big hypes. Where are the deck choices going to be this time around? Araloo typically sticks to like the same 5 core. And kind of techs in that last 6th unit as needed. Still going to go with the barbed wire this game. Bottom, we've got Gentleman. And his opponent up top, Araloo. And Gentleman's actually got the snakes. So very similar compositions here. Just minor variants. Ooh, this map is kind of awkward, to be honest. Again, Gentleman's thinking about some mole shenaniganery here. We're gonna back it up and take it home. So this is a weird map. This middle base is gonna be hard to maintain. I mean, Araloo does have the barbed wire, which does help. The moles can crash through that, but it's still cost efficient for the barbed wire player, even if the moles do end up taking it out, because the tanking and slowing down of the army that those wires provides. But I think overall, eventually this map does tilt into Araloo's favor. I mean, it's really awkward. He's got 3 cabins over here, you know. Can't underestimate that. But I kind of see this like splitting 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock for Araloo. And 9 to 6. Or I should have said 6 to 9. Nice. For Gentleman here. Quick expand for Gent. But again, this is an awkward base for Araloo. I'm curious what he decides to do. If he's just going to go for it, you know, plant his flag there in the middle of the map and say, hey man, I'm taking this and I'm going to live or die on this base. Or maybe he's going to be sneaky, take this 3 o'clock base. He does have some like nice natural defense, you know, for that hidden base in the 3 o'clock position out of those cabins if he does choose to go that route. But honestly, I don't think I would hate to see Araloo really just try to get this middle base because he's got barbed wire. But no, Araloo is actually just going to be offensive here. Good sell on the farms from Gent. Building his own desperation moles, but Araloo's got the tempo. He's got more squirrels right here, right now, but Gentleman does have the defender's advantage, so even though Araloo does have a higher squirrel count on paper, he doesn't have them all here on the front lines. And keep in mind, this is rough to attack into because that mill is going to tank a lot of damage. Bold plays here from Araloo. Putting his tournament life on the line with this attack. He's going to move in. Some good target fire so far, but that's just so many squirrels from the Gentleman. Is Araloo going to pull back? Yeah, he kind of has to. And And this leaves him vulnerable to a counterattack from Gentleman if he wants. But no, Gentleman just wants to take his farm, man. That's all he wanted in the beginning. Arrowlu's out here bullying him. Just trying to throw down a farm. Okay, Gentleman's showing the aggression this time around. Actually denying this mill would be huge. But I think maybe Arrowlu's got enough units here to defend. It's going to be close. He does have the defender's advantage. It looks like Gentleman's busting through. And this can snowball very quickly with moles, man. Once they start getting up onto those warrens, the game can end very, very fast. Arrowlu has to hold this. He loses a single warren there. But he pushes Gentleman back for now, but Gentleman's just got so many moles here. Arrowlu really wants that farm, but he just can't get it right now. Yeah, he needs that barbed wire. He needs to put some barbed wire up on his warrens, probably. Hiding behind this mill is very smart. This is what it's going to come down to, man. Who's got the better control? Who's got the better decision-making on this engagement? Arrowlu's slowly getting that mole count up. He can't afford to let this go if he really needs to, but he doesn't want to. Ideally, this mill will tank until the very last second, where Arrowlu swoops in and saves the day. But alright, Gentleman's going to hark him in. He's got so many moles here, there's just no saving this mill. But can Arrowlu clean this up is the question. It's getting close. But it looks like Arrowlu is going to hold for now. Oh, that is actually huge, because now Gentleman is the one who has to sell everything off and go home, and Arrowlu can use that as an opportunity to attack in if he so pleases. But keep in mind, Gentleman did get a lot done in that engagement. He killed off a mole warren. He killed off a gristmill. And Gentleman did sneak that 5th farm up. I'd love to see Arrowlu really utilize these campfires over here, man. When we're so clutch like this, you don't want to waste that 60 food on a mill when all you can really put on the mill is like 1 farm anyways. He's actually going to do Bofa here, which is a little surprising. I figured he would save the money from the mill. Ooh, and Gent senses a lull in the aggression. He kind of saw the mill being taken. He knew that the cabin was getting cleared out over there. Decides he's got a chance to get out some skunks, but very smartly, Arrowlu also getting into some skunks of his own. So we are going to stabilize here after that very close, intense early game into a proper mid-game maybe. Arrowlu's thinking about moving out again. Gent does get the confirmation on that campfire. Yeah, now I think this is kind of anybody's game here. We've kind of reset. It's close enough. Arrowlu being very bold, though. Going up to 3 additional farms if you count that campfire. And that is the kind of economic lead that can really just win you the game, but it is quite risky. And Arrowlu decides, too risky for now. Sells off those additional farms. And it is kind of getting ready to hold here. The skunks are out for Gentleman, and he's got the pigeons, which can make an absolute huge difference in this fight. Only 1 skunk on the front line for Arrowlu. He desperately needs to rally his second one. Luckily, that tier 2 warren is just right there next to the front anyways, and here comes the Gentleman. Oh, dude, I can't handle it. It's so tense. They're so close. Are the pigeons going to make a big difference here? Both armies are starting to clash, and either player really diving in onto the skunk of their opponents. I think Gentleman came out on top on that one. And we are so far into this game, the first bases are just long gone. And that extra campfire that Arrowlu has could make a big difference here. Ooh, catching Gentleman's skunks out a little bit, but those pigeons really saving the day. Gonna land into the water, though. Oh my god, that 1 skunk gets so low, but it's gonna live for now at 2 HP. Arrowlu really, really looking for that tier 2 kill. Gonna slam in, but both players are gonna barely make it out. This map is insane, dude. This is one of the craziest games I've seen in a long time. I'm just being so close, man. Alright, Airlu. Looking for another engagement here. Keep in mind the farm count is lying to us a little bit. And Airlu's actually up 1 farm here because of that campfire. And what's going to be the move? Airlu trying to plant his flag out here in this territory. He wants Gentleman to have to come in and fight him into the water. Slow down his units a little bit. And this is very tense for both sides. You gotta make very difficult decisions here. Can I sneak out an extra farm? Do I need some more moles? What is the exact right use of my money? Gentleman trying to get in that skunk gas harassment. Oh, but is he gonna lose the skunk? He gets so close, these pigeons. Really paying off for Gentleman, but Airlu is gonna commit in. Changes his mind and goes home, though. He's got that bridge to help get his units out. Gentleman is actually running low on tier, what's the word I'm thinking of? Core tier 1. And dude, these pigeons has saved these skunk butts so many times this game. Good lord. Like 4 or 5 times at least, that pigeon healing made such a big difference. Alright, again, Airlu's still just a little bit ahead on economy. Oh, he's gonna find a window to get some value here. Takes out a mole, and he's gonna commit onto the farm. And he does get the pig, which is huge. But now he's gotta deal with Gentleman's army. Gentleman is hesitating if he wants to actually hard commit or not. Gonna pull back into this water. Both players kind of clashing heads like budding rams and then backing off for a minute. However, mission successful for Airlu there. He traded efficiently enough. He killed a farm, and he got back home. Really impressive that neither side has lost the skunk, by the way. Alright, man. I think I'm in Camp Airlu this game, as much as these pigeons have been godsends here for Gentlemen. Airlu is boasting the economic advantage, and Gentleman's thinking about a hard commit here. Airlu looking for the right angle. He's going to commit onto one of those skunks, but good micro from Gentleman, pulling it back just in time. Losing a lot of his other units, so Airlu's skunks are also getting low. We might actually see a skunk death here, 2 HP. Oh my god, Airlu desperately needs reinforcements. Now Gentleman's time to strike and try to get some of that bacon. Gotta be careful with these skunks in the gas. One skunk goes down, the other skunk was about to die, but Airlu sold the tier 2 Warren. And that's a huge victory for Gentleman. Gentleman's economy is drying up, but he's still got his skunks here. He sniped one of Airlu's skunks, and Airlu had to sell off the other one. That was very clutch from Airlu. And now he's just down to Squirrel Mole to try to hold this off. Get some decent damage on that skunk. But really, I think Airlu needs to kill the supporting units here. Knock out the pigeons, knock out the squirrels. Leave those skunks alone and vulnerable. Airlu's still got... No, actually his campfire is bone dry now. So it's only a 1-farm lead for Airlu. But Gentleman's still got this skunk-pigeon combo up and rolling. Other than that, he's lacking a lot of tier 1. But you can get quite a lot of value out of this skunk pigeon. Alright, Airlu realizes now's the time to strike. No, he pulls back. He wants to keep as many units alive as possible. They do make it back to the safety of their territory healing. This extra little bit of skunk gas, so actually ends up getting a few tier 1 there for Gent. Oh my god, those skunks are getting so low. Airlu thought about the hard commit, but is gonna pull back. Only the squirrels left. Gonna have to sell down a little bit. This game is so close, you guys. Oh my god. But the tech difference here is really in Gentleman's favor, but he doesn't have a lot of those supporting units left. And Gentleman very soon is not going to be able to rebuild this stuff. You know, he's down to 1 farm. Even trying to reproduce tier 1 at this point is a chore. And this is starting to look good for Araloo. Gentleman's going to have to sell down. He's only got moles now. And I think Araloo can strike in, man. It's hard to tell, though. It's a lot easier for us to see with the God mode vision here. Araloo playing it safe, just slowly starting to rebuild those farms, trying to snipe these skunks. He just needs to kill the pigeons, man. He's got to kill these supporting units. Again, he just keeps coming in, poking and prodding, killing what he can, waiting until his units are weak, backing up, healing, rinse and repeat. Gentleman is now starving! And he doesn't have a lot of units left. Is Araloo gonna hard commit? No, he's just still gonna bob and weave. He's still just trying to knock out as many tier 1 from Gentleman while keeping his all alive. And he's been doing a damn good job of it. And this time around, maybe the skunks are not gonna win. I do think Araloo can just push in and win, but he's being super careful here. And that is going to be that. Gentleman's going to have to tap after losing these skunks. And man, what a close back and forth match. Holy moly. Four to 3. Araloo bringing this back. Let's see what the choices are. Araloo's always got that like same 5 core, but let's see what that 6th pick is gonna be. Alright, spawning on the bottom, we've got the Gentleman. And his opponent to the right, Araloo. Man, this is kind of hilarious, right? Like, look at how big and macro-y this map is. And these guys are just in spitting distance of each other. I really wish we would have seen Gentleman spawn, like, over here, you know? Could have made for a really late epic game. But this probably favors Araloo, to be honest. You know, Gentleman teched into the owl this time around. And this owl is just not going to be relevant if we're going to have, you know, big slap fight kind of early games here where the barbed wire is going to be fantastic. Mole rush here from Araloo. These mines actually are a little too late, aren't they? Even though they were late, they still... I mean, he lost 40 food doing that, but he prevented the farm from getting canceled, so... Maybe a better player than me can math that all out for you guys, but I feel like that was advantageous for Araloo either way. He did end up getting 40 food out of that from the 2 mines. Man, I am so worried about this game. It's a shame. Look at this beautiful map. It's so huge. And then they're just right here. Lots of tier 1 from both sides so far is to be expected. You know, it really messes with a lot of timings and stuff, right? Like, rush distance is a really big factor in your build orders. Sometimes it's safe to get like 8 farm double into a tier 2. But in situations like this, if you tried that, your opponent could just build moles and kill you. Look at this hidden base over here from Gent. At the 9 o'clock, Gentleman realizes this is where he was supposed to spawn. And he's going to start making his way downtown. Walking fast and kicking ass. I'm sorry. That was a horrible joke. I'm full of horrible jokes, you guys. And you know, surprisingly, Airlu is just kind of expanding. Good scout from Airlu, by the way. He is going to find this hidden base. He's going to say, uh-huh. See what you're up to. So it does look like Airlu wants to play the macro game here. He's building the wire to defer the attack. He's starting to farm up, but I don't think that's going to work out for him, right? Like, where is Airlu going to take a third? Is he going to try to come up here? And plus, if this gets to the late game, you know, Gentleman's got Owls. And Owl Skunk Falcon is just one of the best late game comps. But we'll see. You know, just because Airlu's macroing up right now doesn't mean he wants to take this into the ultra late game. You might just want to go to a mid game. You know, get a 2 base saturation, get up all of his juicy tier 2, and then put the pressure on. And it's hard for Gentleman, because even though he's got the tier 3, Airlu is really good with scouting, and he's going to know when you build that tier 3, and he's going to come in and punish you for it. And Gentleman doesn't have any good places to kind of, like, sneak it. It's a shame his territory... yeah, that's, like, not quite big enough. That would have been, like, the perfect spot for a sneaky owl. Maybe you, like, put it over here somewhere, you know? Like, kind of hiding in plain sight. So far, just lizards from Gentleman here. I like that. He can utilize some of the awkwardness of this map. You can even sneak through right there, can't he? I think so. I think he's just got that opening. Try a backdoor. Airlu, move around with the chameleons a bit. He'll pick up some mines, do a little bit of harassment. Gentleman already on 3 bases. Has Airlu scouted the third base economy? Not quite yet. He knows the mill is up. He doesn't know how many farms are there. And Gentleman's just getting swole, man. Building Lizard Toad. You gonna pick up this game? Oh, very good job from Airlu. Microing that, just utilizing the mini-map there. Alright, Airlu's not messing around. He's looking to punish Gentleman for all the greed here. And he knows with the big pack of lizards Gentleman's running around with, he might try to leverage a base race, and he's going to take a whole bunch of mills, going to build a whole bunch of barbed wire, try to slow that down. But 20 farms against 12, man. That is rough stuff. This first base, where Gentleman was not supposed to spawn in the first place, is going to go down to some cams here. And Gentleman is setting up where he was supposed to be, over on the west side of the map. So that's kind of hilarious, to be honest. And with this split, the mill count does favor Airlu, but not really, I guess. It's hard to really count this base, you know. You're not really going to build any farms on that anymore, so it's kind of like an even 4-to-4 split, but actually favors Gentleman because he got to mine this base out earlier. Lots of lizards still coming out from Gent here. Airlu finally starting to get a read on how far behind he is on economy. I love this utilization of the chameleons, man. A little bit greedy there. Really wanted to get that kill on the mill. Is he going to get them all home? One of them dies. Oh, but they end up getting revealed by the big mass of lizards. A Gentleman's going to crash through, but a lot of his units are starting to get deleted. This is actually a good engagement for Airlu here. Gentleman's got nothing left. But he's on 23 farms and nothing but tier 1. So, trust me, Gentleman's army is about to be right back out in no time. Jeez, just the economic lead Gentleman has right now is insane. Like, I guarantee you, he doesn't even care that he took that fight so poorly. Like, look at this. He's already got a whole another army. But Airlu's kind of got the special ops units here, man. He's got these big, expensive units he can't afford to lose. They take too long to rebuild. Gentleman, or Airlu is starting to catch up a bit in economy. I like that he's kind of spreading out his resources here. A couple farms on this base, a couple farms on that base. And he's looking to attack. Being careful. I like how he's getting these cams out on the front line, but he might actually get caught there. Good pullback from Airlu. And here's the owls from Gentleman. This is the time Airlu needs to get something done. So many lizards here, though. Gentleman is going to lose quite a bit, but this time around he doesn't have the wiggle room to wait for these lizards to rebuild. Airlu is smashing through. Oh my god, are we going to have a game number 9 here? Really showing you just how good chameleons can be against lizards, especially when you have things like skunk gas. Helping buffer as well. I mean, look at those engagements for Gent, man. The skunk chameleon combo is just doing fantastic. The Gent's getting desperate. He had to sell off those owls, of course, to rebuild what he can, and now he's just going for the base race. He realizes he tried twice. He's not going to beat Airlu's army. Backdoor incoming. Airlu's going to try to ward this off. Ooh, the Gent might actually sneak out. Look at all those toads! Oh, they're actually moving. We've got aquatic toads now. I forgot all about that. That is awesome. Toads are no longer slowed down by water. Dude, I made that suggestion to Andy like a couple years ago. And it's finally implemented. Yeah, Gentleman, this is just not working out, man. He keeps trying wave after wave. He did pretty good job last time, but getting into that back door, getting some work done. But I think this is the killing blow. I think Airlu's going to move in and tie this series up 4-4. Gentleman's going to give him the runaround one more time. Going to get a face full of barbed wire, though. Going to have to try to bob and weave around it. And he just doesn't have enough forces left to actually knock out this mill before Airlu's army can come defend it. And there we go, guys. Airlu tying things up 4-4 here. What is going to be the penultimate deck compositions? Will we see the Badger from Gentleman? We do know it's his favorite unit. Alright, let's see what the players decide to go with. Airlu rocking that same composition. He's really worried about the lizards, man. I can't blame him. Gentleman's got his core decided on. He's just thinking about that 5th unit. You should go Fox. Get a little foxy here in the last match. Oh no, changing it all up. Are we gonna get the pile? All defense and lizards? Pigeons, I'm with you. Ooh, this is a tough decision for Gentleman. As much as I'm kind of joking around. This is huge. What are you gonna bring out in this last match? Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Don't go anywhere, though, because we've got the interview after this, and we're also going to go into the relegation match between Tosh and Necromanticer. But here we go, guys. Tied up 4-4. Everything on the line on this one. We've got Araloo spawning on the left, and up top, the Gentleman. Couldn't ask for a better Grand Finals Premier Series here, man. Some of these matches have been absolutely bonkers, and I love to see Gentlemen really utilizing Lizards and piloting those to victory in a lot of the matches. Although it didn't work as well last game, it's not something we typically see as meta nowadays, but it's very important to mix things like that into your comps. And this is an awkward map. Araloo's got a nice 3 bases here, so he can't really complain. Meanwhile, Gentleman's gonna have to move out a little bit, but at the same time, it's not a big deal because his main is like the pocket base. And then he comes over here and takes these. So this is definitely a Gentleman favored map if the game goes too long. Araloo should realize this, though, and put that into his calculations on how he wants to play this out. And again, normally I'm not super worried about that because we typically see 2 to 3 bases, right, in your average game. I love this mole, by the way. It really punishes this greedy opening. Araloo should know better than to go straight for a gristmill, and he gets shut down because of it. Meanwhile, Gentleman opening up pretty safely. 8-farm double if you include that. Mole Warren into the mill. Fast skunks from both sides. Really cool. And it makes a lot of sense, to be honest, because this map is such a long rush distance. You can actually get into this like classic 8-farm double tier 1 into skunks build. It used to be very popular, not necessarily skunks per se, but just 8-farm double into a tier 2 in general. Used to kind of be the meta, but you can't do that nowadays because of moles. So this kind of reminds me like an old school game here. Lots of greed from both sides, and I think that's very smart. The map dictates it, and half of it's like Tooth and Tail is like split into thirds, right? Like 1/3 of Tooth and Tail is scouting, the other 1/3 of Tooth and Tail is quick decision making and kind of downloading the map, and then everything else is the last third, right? Build orders, units, micro. And I think both players did a really good job of that map download here, and this is going to be a greed war. We see double tier 2 coming down from both sides. We see half saturation on naturals. And I love games like this. Both players getting in and scouting that information they need. Does Gentleman... Oh, he actually did already scout the double tier 2. I guess he put his second tier 2 down in response to Araloo. We needed a rainy lightning map, Dizon, I agree. That'd be the final anime Goku versus Frieza showdown, you know. But who's the villain here is the question. I like both these guys a lot. I'd be happy to see either player win. Yeah, 7 farms, 1 Warren. That is true. Well, if you want to talk really old school Mocha, 5-farm Warren. That was like the meta, like right around launch, because the abusive moles. Moles have always been a problem in one way or another, man. I actually like modern moles. I think they're in a good spot. They've got a couple issues, but it's not so bad. Yeah, like the launch moles, if you didn't go 5-farm Warren, you would just die to somebody like DJ Soak. He would just kill you, straight up. Damn, so many mills already being taken, and I think Gentleman realizes that all he's got to do is hold out. I think that makes Gentleman the villain here, right? Aralu's our protagonist. He's the one in the rough spot. He's the underdog here. He's the one who's got to figure out something clever to win this game. Gentleman's just got to chill. And I was kind of excited for, like, the macro openings, but now we're just in crazy macro openings, man. This is just unprecedented levels of greed. This is like some late stage capitalism stuff right here. They're giving their CEOs bonuses while paying their workers minimum wage. That's what's going on in this game. I mean, this is nuts, but I think this is right by the gentleman. Because he wants to prove me wrong, where I said most games don't go to that 4th base. He's like, I'm going to drill this game right up to 4 bases, and Aralu is going to be behind because of the map. So I'm getting a little worried for Aralu here, man. He's got to figure out something to even this out. He still hasn't saturated his 3rd all the way, by the way. But like I don't want to sound like a broken record, man, but Gentleman can just hang out. You can just hang out and keep building up. Now, Aralu does have a lot of Falcons, and we've seen him win previous games because the Gentleman was a little bit too slow on that late game Falcon transition. Aralu's working up his confidence. This is rough, man. That's so many units to attack into. Look at these army values here. And Aralu's gonna go for it. He knows he's got to do something. He can't just sit around and let Gentleman use all 4 of those bases. The big attack comes in, and Aralu is starting to push through, but a lot of his core tier 2 are getting weak. And Gen's got these snakes. Aralu's gonna have to push back for now. And Gentleman holding that with Defender's advantage quite nicely. And unfortunately, man, this is not looking good for Aralu. I think he's got about 1 more attack under his belt before the superior economy of Gentleman is just going to take over. Man, I'm like getting better with my cough mutes. I'll never forget, I don't know why, like one of my feasts way back when I was like trying to be all pro and like mute my mic when I cough and stuff, you know? And I muted the game. Like I muted all other volume but my microphone, and then I coughed. Like, it was just like highlighted. I don't know why, I think that's hilarious. Alright, man. I'm trying to stay hype here, but this is looking so good for the Gentleman. Is there anything Aralu can do? He doesn't have any, like, back attack paths that he can try to do something. He's got to fight the final boss right here, right in Gentleman's front door, where he's got the high ground advantage, where he's got the defender's advantage. I think Aralu messed up earlier on by letting this game go so macro. I think he needed a sharp 2-base strike where Gentleman was being greedy and starting to take those 3rd and 4th bases. Maybe that would have been the move. But I don't want to count Aralu out yet, man. Miracles can happen. Snakes and Pidgeotto. Can we just start calling Falcons Pidgeotto? Can I get a Pidgeotto skin for my Falcon, please? Alright, Aralu's busting in. He's got to try something. He knows as well as I do that 4th base is just going to win Gentleman the game. So much skunk gas going down from both sides. Gentleman's backing up. And he will take this base down. But is it enough damage? Oh my god, Aralu's starting to melt through this army of the Gentleman. Can it actually happen here? Oh my god. Alright, sell off some of that tier 1. You don't need it. I don't mean to be rooting for Aralu. But I am kind of hoping he figures this out just because the map gen is so much better for Gent here. Like, that was a good attack. That's what he needed. If he can do that again, 1 or 2 more times, maybe he waits until Gentleman starts saturating up this base again, right? Where he's put in 200-300 food and it hasn't paid for itself yet. Maybe that's the opportune moment. Yeah, Premium Bow remembers. Oh, God. Yeah, I am on a little bit of a delay, guys. I try to do that for live tournament matches. So I apologize if I'm not interacting with the chat too much. But it looks like you guys are entertaining yourselves. Oh my god, Araloo hype, dude. Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna win the game where he's down a mill? Don't count the Gentleman out just yet, though. Army values are even. Gentleman hasn't committed to that 4th base again just yet. Alright, Araloo's crashing through. This might be the last big engagement. No, Araloo's gonna hedge his bets and go home, but that's really bad. Retreating is always bad in Tooth and Tail. Look at this. Gentleman's just getting some advantage on the retreat. And Gentleman's gonna push in. One of the farms going down for Araloo here. Oh my god, Araloo's gonna clean this up. Alright, both players in the deep red here. They gotta sell off. What are the choices? Trying to keep as much tier 2 as he can is Araloo here. Oh my god, this is coming down to the wire, you guys. Araloo's actually in the advantage now. Income-wise and army-wise, Gentleman sucked up that 3rd base already. Alright, Araloo looking. This might be it, guys. Gentleman is starving. Araloo's not too far behind him. One final big push is coming through. Araloo knocks down the tank mill. This is getting so close. Gentleman's army is starting to melt. And it looks like Araloo is going to be our Tooth and Tail Championship 2020.2 winner here, as he crushes through the Gentleman when the Gentleman had the gristmill advantage on the map. And that is it. GG! Araloo is your champion. Damn. What a crazy game. What a crazy series. Very well played from both sides. Wow. Alright, I'm seeing if Araloo would like to do an interview. I don't want to pressure him if he's not into it, but give him that opportunity. Doesn't have a mic. Alright. Okay, guys. Wow, I need a second to digest that. That was insane. Damn, man. Araloo, against all odds, coming back from 1-4 to a 5-4 victory against the Gentleman, arguably the GOAT. Gentleman, you know, he's won so many events. What a phenomenal game. And guys, we still have more content. Araloo has declined the interview. But while I got everybody here, since this event is winding down, I want to go ahead and make sure everybody is aware of the Magnificent 21, the Gentleman's next events. I just linked it into the Discord, so everybody's aware of that. Guys, I need a second, to be honest. I gotta catch my breath. So let's take it to a little bit of a break. Give me a few minutes, and then we'll hop into the relegation match with with Big Pimpin' Tosh and Necromanticer. What a series. And yeah, I know somebody asked if we're gonna have a VOD of this. I do highlight everything on Twitch. I have been slacking on my YouTube upload, but I've got tomorrow off. It's Labor Day, so I'll probably just sit in here and get all that work done. Get my YouTube totally up to date. But what a phenomenal series, man. Some really cool play coming out of the gentleman. Lots of different lizard moves. We did see the Badger, which would have been great if we actually saw it, but we saw it in gentleman's deck. So it was really fun. But such close games. Like, so many of those are worth taking out the notepad for sure. So, great job, everybody. Congratulations to Araloo. I'm going to kick it to a brief break, guys, and we'll head into Big Pimpin' Tosh versus Necromanticer after that. So, don't go away. Don't go away, anybody. We'll be back very shortly. Alright guys, I am back. Oh, let's go to this screen. There we go. I think we're waiting on the players to hop on in here. Man, what a match. That was absolutely insane. Let me just switch up the scoreboard. Is this like... How do I say relegation? Oh, there we go. Premier relegation. There we go. Look at this. Oh, there we go. Nice. Nice. Tosh is probably going to play Archimedes, right? What's Necromanticer play? We might not have Necro, but let's see. Just a little bit longer, guys. I hope everybody's enjoying the content today. Been a bunch of phenomenal streamers, phenomenal players. Big shout out again to everybody who's continued involvement in the scene is really keeping this game alive and relevant. You know, I can't stress enough like how important events like this are. You know, it's really what gets the guys to come out of the woodworks and start playing again, start laddering again, to prepare. I apologize about my Steam alerts, guys. One of my buddies is hitting me up. Okay, doesn't look like Necromanticer is here, unfortunately. So, I'll give him a few more minutes. But if not, we'll go ahead and just end the stream. But thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, man. It's really cool to see all the support, you know, for all the various streamers, all the interest on Twitch and that sort of thing. And again, you know, as this event is wrapping up, you know, hop on into the next one. The Magnificent 21. I think I still have that on my copy and paste here. You basically join up with a faction, but your faction is based on the tier 3 unit. So you pick your favorite tier 3, you represent them in a series of games against the other factions, and it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited. So, yeah, man, we're just hanging out a little bit here. Tosh, let's have a show match. Let's do this. Come on, let me in here. Oh wait, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Ah. Let me see if Tosh will play. Random deck. I pressed the wrong button. I want to play a game. I've been watching and casting all day. Alright, Mocha's making the call, man. If Necro doesn't show up soon, then he is just going to forfeit, and Tosh is going to take it. Oh, I see Necro typing. Yeah, what happened with Vieshel Qualna? Is that still going on? Did that ever finish up? Oh, boo. I don't get to play random decks against Tosh, you guys. I'm relegated back to caster. Alright, we've got confirmation. Necro is here. Should be ready to roll now. Is my password right? Yeah. Just kind of waiting. Sorry, I'm a little bit fatigued here. I might just kick it to the break until we're actually ready. Might be the smartest thing to do. Just 1 second, guys. This match should be up here shortly. Alright guys, a little bit of a false start here, some miscommunication. They actually had another lobby up with the same password, so we're in the match here. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward so we can get caught up. On the right, we've got Necromantizer. Up top, we've got Tosh. Oh, it looks like we're about caught up now. Yeah, alright, cool. And let's see what these players want to go for here. This is a best of 7 to determine which of these players will stay in Premier Division next season, and which player will be relegated down to Intermediate. Let me make sure everything looks good on my end. Yep. We are all set. And yeah, let's see where they want to take it. So far, nothing crazy. Some 8-farm double openings. Necromantizer going for some lizards here. Meanwhile, Tosh up on the squirrels. Actually going up to 3 tier 1. Which makes a lot of sense. Really short rush distance here. Kind of a weird map, right? Like lots of mills kind of cluttered here in the center. We do actually see some tier 3 this game, which is kind of exciting. We got the boar coming out from Necro and the... Alright, Tosh. Dude, I love Tosh's builds, man. He's the meme lord. Very, very quick Badger here coming out from Tosh. And Necromantizer really needs to get the scout off. And Necro's an old school OG, man. He's been playing since the game launched. I remember him from very, very back in the day. But he kind of comes in and out. I actually hadn't seen him play in a while, so maybe he came back specifically for this event. Yeah, we are... Oh, wait. We are a little bit behind. Okay, he does get the scout. I thought we were caught up. Sorry, I am fast-forwarding. Badger's almost here. If I don't fast-forward, then when the game ends, it's just going to end. We're not going to see. So apologize, guys. What ended up happening was there were 2 lobbies up with the same password. Nice attack with the Badger. He barely gets it out in time. And with these pigeons here to help heal it, Tosh is going to be able to get this Badger back on the front line. These lizards can get in there and hop on top of the Badger and knock it out. But sometimes it can be easier said than done. Okay, now I think we're actually caught up. Yeah, because I can't fast forward anymore. So Tosh utilizing this Badger micro, but it's getting so low. 1 HP, it finally goes down. And Necromantizer's got the economic lead from here. It looked like he did some lizard harassment earlier on and knocked out a couple of these back pigs from Tosh. And Tosh was never able to take a second base. Necro with the counter follow-up, and this just might be game number 1. Tosh trying to take this Desperation Mill in the bottom, but it does not work. Tosh trying to win with a cheeky early Badger push. Necromantizer slaps it down, though. And we're going to hop right into game number 2. I got to change these colors. Oh, Tosh grabbing Archimedes. Sorry about the false start there a little bit, guys. Sometimes that happens, but we are back in business now. Alright, let me put on the green trunks for Necro here. Looks like a similar deck out of Necromantizer. Let's see what Tosh wants to go for. No tier 3 this time, actually, from Tosh. I want to see the patented 3 or 4 tier 3 Tosh decks, man. Over on the left, we've got Big Pimpin' Tosh down 1 map. Over on the right, fresh off a victory, Necromantizer. And let's see how this one plays out. Map in favor of Necro here, if we do end up in that longer game, but... well, not too bad, to be honest. Like, Tosh has these nice 3 mills here. You get this 4th base on the bottom. Hell, you can even grab some cabins. But we do have 5 over on Necro's side. Yeah, sorry. Let's see how these guys want to play it out. So far, nothing crazy. No moles or anything like that. We got toads here from Tosh this time around. Maybe to try to deal with that lizard harassment that Necromantizer likes to do. Tosh gonna go for the sneaky 6 o'clock? No, just getting the scouting done. Necromantizer moving out, but we're still really early in the game. You just want to verify your opponent didn't sell any of those beginning 8 farms and try to build into a lot of army right off the gate. looks like we're going into some second bases. I'm excited, man. Wife's ordering some pizza. Ooh, we got a little bit of lag. There we go. And it passes. We're gonna play Among Us with some of our friends after this. Here, that's a pretty fun game. Alright, so just a bunch of tier 1 so far, slowly starting to get into some economy on the second bases. We'll just have to see where the game progresses. So far, nothing crazy just yet. Both players doing a good job scouting, kind of matching their opponents. Sash is actually not seeing the mill, now he sees it. He knows he's got a few farms there. He's probably going to come home and grab another farm or two on his own base. I was worried for a second that cabin would attack the pig. Well, I guess the cabins don't attack structures, right? And the pig is considered a structure while it's building. Once this pig is up, isn't it in range? Necromantizer with a lot of greed here. Going almost all the way up to full 2 base saturation and a tier 2, but Tosh following suit. Oh, it is so close, man. Why am I so interested in this pig? I think when he walks over to that right corner, it's going to hit him, right? I'm waiting. I'm watching you. Oink Master. Oh, oh, oh! Nope. Close. Close but no cigar. And a sneaky third base being taken from Tosh in the bottom here. Yes, it is best of 7, guys. Ooh, Necromantizer getting that boar. And I don't think Tosh has seen it yet. He needs a scout, but he's already kind of preemptively building those snakes. So he will have a nice answer for it. Yeah, he comes in here and gets a scout. Knows what's going on. Might end up going up to double snake here. Yeah, even goes down on the skunks. I was thinking that, but at the same time, I wouldn't hate the 2 skunks. I mean, it might be a little bit overkill. Like, there's not a whole lot of tier 1 from Necro. And we're just kind of building up for the moment. Tosh has got the eco lead. He's already got that half saturation on the third base going. Good scout there from Necro. But Tosh with no tier 3 is kind of weird, to be honest. I don't know how I feel about that. Doesn't seem right. Looks like Necro's gearing up. He's got a lot of Falcons, actually. This is a really interesting composition he's got going on with the boar here. He's got a lot of supporting units, and as we'd seen in previous matches, man, when you're able to get to the front lines, you got like 3 or 4 or even 5 extra Falcons in your opponents. I mean, that's huge. And is this going to be a timing trigger for Necro? I mean, Tosh's army's not bad, and keep in mind he's got the ego lead. But this boar can make a big mess here. No stacks of poison just yet. Tosh getting in there. 4 stacks of poison on the boar. I think he needs just a little bit more than that. His HP is rapidly falling, though. That might just be enough. Yeah, it's gonna go down, but Necromantizer's got plenty of supporting units. I think he can continue this push forward if he really so chooses. And Tosh is in a bad spot right now. He's got to desperately muster up whatever he can to hold this off. He's already losing pigs. And this might just be too much damage. Necro actually doesn't know about this third, which is very advantageous for Tosh, because, I mean, it'd be very, very simple if Necro knew to just go down there and take it out. Alright, Necro moving in for the follow-up attack. A little bit of lag here. And this is just going to be too many units here for Tosh to defend. That big boar bust was able to get the job done, was able to trade effectively enough earlier on to allow this follow-up push to make it happen. Well, Tosh holds it off for now. Maybe I'm speaking too soon here. Yeah, that's gotta be... Well, I mean, he's still got the third base, but he's just too far behind in economy now. Tosh is fighting to his last breath here. I don't blame him. This is an important match. You gotta stay in that Premier League to get those bragging rights. But TiSer is gonna take a quick 2-0 lead in this series. Alright. Let's see what the players choose to go for this time around. Any rapid changes. Tosh going back to his roots, man. Getting that Badger up and running. Meanwhile, Necro kind of going back to... Ooh, gotta grab the wolf this time. Interesting. Some pretty different decks this time around. Spawning on the left, down 2 games, we've got Tosh. And over to the right, off to a great start in this series, TiSer. And this map does not look bad for Necro. He's got nice 5 bases right here. Meanwhile, Tosh has got 4. You know, he can't complain too bad. Like I said, most games, it's only going to 2 or 3 bases anyways, so we don't have to freak out about the mill disparity. And as you guys saw in the last game between Airlu and Gent, man, Gent had that 1 extra mill, and it did go all the way, and Airlu still was able to take it on some good decision-making, unit control, engagements, and army composition. So let's see what these players want to go with. No moles. No 5 farm doubles or anything like that. We'll probably see some 8 farm doubles into some mills, into some tier 2. I'm interested to see how greedy these guys want to go. Is Tosh gonna try to bring out one of those like 1 base tier 3s again? And Necro, this is always rough being on the low ground here on your main, but it should be very easy for him to get out here and stretch his legs on the map a little bit, start securing this high ground outside the base, and then his main is just like this perfect little pocket, you know? Got a nice moat around it. But I'm really curious if we're going to see some tier 3 this game. Both players have picked a couple tier 3 in their slots, and I think in the hyper late game, I like Necro's comp better. Like, Wolf Falcon is just so strong. But, you know, Tosh has got some great Badger control. And if Tosh can get a Badger out when Necro doesn't, you know, really have a lot of Falcons or anything like that, you could potentially get something done. Big Lizard attack moving out here for TiSer. Just going to pick up this cabin for now and head home. Tier 2's on the way for both sides. And maybe Tosh might get an advantage here. Like, typically cams will do better against Falcons in the early game because the cams will knock out your opponent's tier 1, leave those Falcons exposed. Plus, he's also got the Toads here to help deal with the Lizards. You know, so cam and Toad against Lizard, you know. Very strong. Tosh just desperately trying to sneak some Lizards in, but just not going to happen. A little bit of a loss there for Tosh. Not enough to really make the big difference, you know, but it is unfortunate. Alright, Tosh is feeling froggy here. He's moving out with some units. Lots of couple camps here. Some toads. If he takes this engagement just right, he does have the potential to get some good damage, and he needs these toads to get the connections, and they really don't there. A couple of the toads, I think, hit the gristmill, unfortunately. And Necro's going to hold that off just fine. Now, this is kind of going from bad to worse for Tosh. You know, losing those few lizards earlier on was kind of forgivable, but that follow-up attack as well has just put Tosh so far behind, and Necro realizes that he's going to put the pressure on. He's got some Falcons to deal that DPS from the back line. And he's starting to hit the pigs of his opponent. Let's see if Tosh can actually muster up a defense. He's already lost 2 pigs. Now keep in mind, Necro, did he lose those pigs earlier? No, I think he canceled them. Because I knew he was building up the 10 farms, but I think once the attack from Tosh was coming in, he just canceled them off. And I think this is too much damage, man. Necromantizer is going to bring us into a quick game 4 here by the looks of it. I mean, Tosh just doesn't have any Warrens left over. He's going to hold on for now. But Necromantizer's got 4 Falcons cooking. One of them is very low, but he's got enough supporting units here. If he bob and weaves correctly, he can probably keep it alive. Even if it dies, probably not the end of the world, but Tosh is just taking too much damage, man. And he's going to go down to a very quick 3-0. Now, this is a best of 7, so he's got one more chance. He can reverse sweep this, and it looks like Tosh just wants to try to see what his opponent's got here before he gets actually eliminated rather than surrendering. Rallying that chameleon, Tosh. All right, man. A quick 3-0 lead for Necromantizer here. Not messing around. All right, Tosh maybe changing his color. Ooh, Necro using that opportunity to take back his Archimedes. Let me change these colors here. All right, man. Tosh needs to win the map here or he is eliminated from the Premier League next season. What are the decks going to be? Tosh with the Badger Wolf. Alright, spawning the bottom here. Needing an epic comeback. We've got Big Pimpin' Tosh and his opponent at the top left. Trying to sweep his opponent clean here in this best of 7. Necromantizer. Okay, big awkward map, so we might see a little bit of a macro game, which is nice for Tosh, because for one, he's definitely got the map advantage here. He's got the gristmill split, right? You know, Necromantizer's kind of stuck on these 3 bases here. Meanwhile, Tosh has access to quite a few. What is it? 6 bases here, kind of under Tosh's reign. And he's got Wolf Badger, which should scale pretty well in the late game. No Falcons, though. And man, it has just been a jam-packed day of Tooth and Tail today. What the streams kicked off at 11 a.m. We're gonna be finishing around 6 almost, 5 or 6. So 6 to 7 hours of Tooth and Tail content today, guys, on Nicolacio's channel, on Kerpa's channel, and here on ToothAndTailTV. So much good stuff. And quick expansions from both sides. It's kind of to be expected on a map so large and awkward. And I'm waiting to see it, man. I'm waiting to see that quick Badger Wolf from Tosh. He's building up some barbed wire, maybe hoping to deter Necromentizer from attacking. But so far, Necro's playing this well, man. I mean, he's farming up. You know, he's not messing around. He's already starting to work on that eco lead. And although I do like Tosh's composition in the hyper late game, so far I think Necro's kind of evolving into this match a little bit better. He needs to be more greedy though. Like, has he scouted the barbed wire is the question. He does know Tosh has put down the barbed wire. Yeah, he's already building up this boar. I was gonna say I'd love to see him just like slam down a bunch of farms, but maybe it makes more sense to just try to build up some units if he is gonna go for that big boar attack. Tosh already gonna take this 9 o'clock base. Maybe try to give some bad information to his opponents. You know, Necro comes in here and scouts and sees, oh, you've only got a few farms. But in reality, he's got that third base fully saturated up or something like that. Decent scout there from Necro. Meanwhile, Tosh was able to get in and see the boar. So is that going to trigger the Wolf Badger? Oh, just the Badger. Ooh, he actually sells the boar and builds falcons instead. Interesting. Going up to a ton of falcons here is Necro, but what is he going to use to really bust through this barbed wire? I mean, this is one of these maps where there's only this one attack path into either side, right? And the one thing he had to really deal with the wire was the boar, but he sold that off in favor of a bunch of falcons. Oh, Necromentizer found the hidden base over to the 9 o'clock. He could just rally his falcons over there if he wanted to. That'd be pretty slick. But I still don't think Necro's got a good answer for this wire here. He doesn't have moles or chameleons or pigeons to kind of utilize some healing with skunks or something like that. I mean, there's a few different ways to peel that onion, but he's kind of missing all the tools for it here. And now comes the boar. Big economies here for both sides. Necro is a little bit ahead on that regard. Is he just gonna... Dude, you just tell the Falcons to go attack that base. Do it. Do it. Oh. So many Falcons coming out from Necromentizer. It's like, fine, man, you're gonna build some barbed wire. I'm just gonna go to the skies. Ooh, Tosh actually selling down on the wire in favor of more economy. And he's got the Wolf Badger combo up and running. The Badger is here, the Wolf is on the way. And we've got a big macro game. This might be the map that Tosh needed to get back into the series. And the unit composition as well. Alright, here come the Falcons to knock out that hidden base. That is going to be a pretty big blow. But if Tosh is moving out right when those Falcons are gone, you know, maybe he can hit a nice window. But I think Necromentizer would be able to bring those Falcons back pretty quickly. Yeah, he's going to have to bring them back now. But this is a good start for Tosh. The Falcons are not home, and Tosh actually decides to bring it back. That's so many Falcons, though. They're just going to doof down that Badger so quickly. Necro, 14 Falcons, man. I like this. He's just going to have the Badger as, like, the tank. He's not even really worried that much about the AoE damage. It's just there for things to shoot at, while the Falcons do all the real damage. And the barbed wire was gone. It was sold by Tosh. The Wolf is almost here, though. Is the Wolf-Badger combo going to be enough? Or will Necromentizer slam dunk here into a 4-0 on the series? Oh, Necro's backing up. Oh, and here's that Wolf. The Badger's got the buff. The Badger's got every tool at its disposal. It's got a bunch of pigeons. It's got the Wolf. But the rest of Tosh's army gets roasted. And there's so many Falcons here. They're just going to burst that Badger down so fast. Necro hesitating on the hard engage here. I think he's pulling his units back, wanting them to heal. But he needs to be careful. This Badger, all beefed up, will be able to poke and prod. I don't think Necro's ready to commit to just losing the board just yet. A little bit of lag this game. Alright, another engagement. Most of Tosh's supporting units are starting to fall here. And the board does go down. Does Necromentizer decide to go for it? No, he's going to pull back. Damn, that batter is so low. But Tosh holds. Necro's just going to let these Falcons heal up. He doesn't have time to go home and sell anything, which is a bit unfortunate, because 180 bucks for that additional boar is going to be hard to come by. And now there's not as many Falcons in the air. This Badger, rather, is starting to clean everything up. Tosh is looking like he might actually win this game. Yeah, Necromentizer has lost a critical mass of Falcons that he needed, and now they're all blocked. He's not going to be able to rebuild them. He looks like he's ready to Tosh, to tap. Jeez, sorry. And Tosh fighting back, putting a point on the board here. Ooh, Tosh changing it up to Hopper this time around. Balloon, Fox, Boar. Alright, I'm loving all of this. Let's see what the decks are going to be. Looks like Tosh continues to switch it up while Necromentizer is kind of sticking to like that same general core. And over on the left side, playing in the red this time, we've got Big Pip and Tosh. And over on the right, Necromentizer. Now this is a Tosh deck, man. 2 defenses, 2 tier 3. One tier 1. Just the squirrels. And let's see how these guys want to approach this match. Map is looking okay for both sides. I like it better for Tosh. He's got that high ground advantage here. He's got several mills as well. And it's not so bad for Necromentizer. He does have this little bit of a moats kind of around his main base. He's got 4 grist mills, nice tucked away in that little diamond shape there. And so far, nothing crazy. Again, no moles, no early shenanigans. Just going to be some 8 farm openings for both sides here. 8 farm double for Necro. Imagine Tosh will do the same. If not, 8 farm single into a mill. And I'm going to go for the 8 farm double as well. This could be a good map for what Tosh is trying to do, though. Like, you can set up some balloons on this high ground and really abuse Necro from ever being able to get through. Like, imagine you got balloons up here, you know, you gotta waddle through this water, all slowed down and into the firing range of the balloons. The balloons would also protect so many bases at once. I actually ended up taking this back base here as Tosh, which I do like. It's a little bit safer, a little bit more difficult to scout, but I think it does leave Necro open if you really wanted to try to break out of this earlier, maybe take these bases, but Necro's also going for the safe base. And he's got his lizards. Necro likes building this little pack of lizards here in the early game. Poke around the map with. He might be getting a little too big for his britches here. He's going to commit to taking this campfire, yeah. Decides to pack it up and go home. And Chameleon's on the way here for Necromentizer. I think that's a good tech into his deck here. Since he knows Tosh is using the barbed wire. And Tosh already going for the boar. Did Necro see it? He did, but then Tosh sells it and takes a fox instead. That's big brain plays, right? Because you're going to build a bunch of falcons to get ready for the boar, and the fox just eats falcons for lunch, so... That is a really smart move. Necro is going to get the follow-up scout, though, and should be able to pick this up. And, you know, Necro really wants his lizards, his chameleons, even the barbed wire against the fox. And Tosh is just so greedy here, man. Going for the tier 3, going for big saturation on the second base. And this just looks like a different Tosh than what we saw in previous matches, man. He's really got the momentum in this game. He's really dictating the flow. And with all this barbed wire, it's difficult for Necro to attack in and try to punish all of this greed. And look at this, Tosh actually sells off a lot of those farms, just trying to send as many mixed signals to Necro as possible. And Necro actually did not sell out of the falcons, which are going to be just free money for this fox, man. They one-shot these falcons from a nice safe distance. And I think Necromanticer's got to get something done soon. You know, Tosh has got such a good spread of the map. And with the balloons to cover everything, with this fox out, it's going to be really hard to break this. But let's see, Necromanticer still got a pretty good economy here. And he's got his own barbed wire to be a thorn in the side of the fox. This might be a really kind of stalematey game, to be honest. The boar on the way as well for Tosh. Alright, Tosh has got the fox. Let's see what he can get done with it. He can kind of abuse this high ground ledge here if he wanted. No, he's just going to sneak in just close enough, start shooting at those pigs, getting some bacon there. What is Necromanticer going to do? I feel like Tosh might just pick him apart from here. Again, with just so many falcons. Maybe he's going for like, hey, you can't kill all my falcons fast enough kind of approach. Tosh is being very careful of this fox. He knows losing it in this game is basically a death sentence. But what is Necro going to do to really break through this barbed wire? I think Necro's army value is actually starting to get pretty out of control. You know, Tosh has got a lot wrapped up in economy. He's got a lot wrapped up in tier 3 and in defense. I think he needs to get up to like 4 or 6 chameleons, you know. Alright, big engagement here. Necro's just gonna go for it. Where's the target fire on these falcons? He does kill the fox. Badger goes down as well. And Necromanticer is left over with so many falcons here. And the falcons do not care about this barbed wire at all. He's getting over the juicy third base of Tosh. It's going to go down very, very quickly. And can Tosh rapidly get reinforcements out fast enough to hold this down? He sold the fox warren off. This balloon is starting to get a little bit of work. And slowly these squirrels are starting to clean up these falcons here. But as Tosh is taking too much damage is the question. Necro's going to pull back. But that was a disaster for Tosh there. And I think if Necro just kind of goes up on a couple cams here to help just bust through the barbed wire. He's got... Oh, he actually sold off the cams. Another boar is here for Tosh. And Tosh actually still has the better economy. Yeah, I think Necro just really needs a couple cams. But Tosh's army comp is not super impressive. It's just a handful of squirrels and the boar. Necro finds this chink in the armor here. Right as Tosh sold off that barbed wire, Necro pounces in. And will the boar be enough to push Necro away for now? He's got a lot of falcons here. He needs to be careful of this tier 1 though. He wants to pull that tier 1 back and just let the falcons take out the boar. And the boar goes down. And Tosh might have been thinking about tapping, but he's still got such a large economy. But he doesn't have any warrants. That's the big problem here. Once these squirrel warrants go down, there's nothing Tosh can do to reinforce. He's literally got no warrants anymore. And he's got nothing like moles to get in there and try to really punish Necro. And I think this is just going to be game right here. Necromentizer defending his position in Premier League. And Tosh is going to have to fight it out in Intermediate next season. But hey, there's nothing wrong with Intermediate League, man. There's a lot of great players in there. Solomon, Meek, Trumpet. Well, I think Solomon might be in Premier now, probably. Right? Because he won. But that is it, guys. It looks like Necromentizer is going to stay in the Premier League, and Tosh is going to go down. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. It's always such a pleasure, man. And sign up for the Gentleman's Magnificent 21. Sign-up's in just a couple days, so don't delay. Sign up soon. And with that, everybody, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my weekend. Hope you all had a wonderful time. We had a ton of great content today, so definitely check out all the VODs. And I will see y'all next time. Take care.